Storytime. With this final bag, she had completely disposed of the body.
Oh, my cover.
Storytime. They were having a lovely time, and then all of a sudden a duck flew above them, and it was beautiful and majestic. Storytime. She claimed to know all the information, but did not know how to heal my broken heart. Or did she? Storytime. It was common law that a flower be presented to the loveliest lass.
Well, and of course that's me.
Storytime. Just like all the other flowers in this garden, she was just as exquisite.
Shut up.
Storytime. Little did she know the mysterious figure creeping up behind her. Storytime. Here she comes, the queen, able to kill men with a single stare.
You better watch out, honey.
Storytime. After months of research, she concluded that in 50 years, all men would be extinct. Storytime. On this blessed day, the two proclaimed their love. Oh, shoot, you guys okay? Storytime. He was a gracious soul, offering food to those in need. His kindness... Storytime. One of these men forgot to check their flies. That man was me. These three were fine. Storytime. The two were models, and they loved to strut their stuff. Storytime. No matter how fast he ran, he could not escape the demon, but he would not let his soul be taken today. Storytime. The young man sat there drinking his grape juice.
Leave me alone.
I am a god, Brandon.
Leave me alone.
You will bend to my will. Storytime. To test their love, she decided to use her scary face. Oh. Storytime. Suddenly, the two felt the urge to get up and dance.
And then the Vine guy joined them.
Woo! Yeah!
Storytime. The man was about to step on a snake! On a snake! But he missed it. Storytime.
How does it feel for the narrator to become the narrated?
Very awkward.
Storytime. At last, the hero arrived to deliver peace and joy to this dark world. I have to pay him. I am so sorry. Storytime. She never even knew her shirt had a hole. Lot of style. Storytime. This was the moment the lad would propose to the girl.
No.
Storytime. The man came to the bus stop every day to pick up hot chicks. Storytime. She had no clue she was about to run into a bridge that was nowhere near her.
Would you say?
Storytime. With that curl, he knew he was now ready to beat up that kid Jimmy at school for stealing his milk.
Stupid Jimmy.
Storytime. The ladies congregate here every day to scope out the hot dudes.
Yeah, we do.
Storytime. Of all the works of art in this room, she was the loveliest. Storytime. In every group of friends, there's the dumb one.
Really?
Storytime. She then discovered a booger residing in her nose. It would never be removed. Storytime. She had been waiting her whole life for someone to sweep her off her feet.
Can you feel?
Storytime. It was clear that a romance was blossoming between them. A romance lasting a lifetime. Storytime. The receptionist's dark secret was that the computers were only used for Minesweeper.
How did you know?
Storytime. He ripped into the bagel ravenously as if tearing into the carcass of a dead gazelle.
Dude.
Storytime. She heard that a kick would release a free movie. She heard wrong. Storytime. The teacher slaved over the board. She stared at Thomas with a mighty rage. Storytime. She stared at the gown and thought, yes, this is something my husband would wear. Storytime. The store clerk believed he had put the wrong cans on the shelf. Ah, but he was right all along. Storytime. At last, the two came together for a tender kiss. Oh, storytime. The girl loved smelling her phone. It filled her with delight. She sniffed once more. Storytime. The girl offered him a flyer, but he refused. But she gravely insisted. Storytime. The man's butt scratching was complete.
Dude, what?
It was delightful.
True.
What?
Storytime. The lad decided to do the honorable thing and share his treat with Mother. Oh, storytime. The woman was alone, but she seemed to be haunted by ghosts of her past.
You're haunting me.
Storytime. As he squeezed the melons, he pictured them as the hearts of his enemies. Storytime. The man knew exactly what to do to embarrass his son. Storytime. He looked out of the field of beheaded warriors, and in his hands he held the head of the Pumpkin King. He had won. Storytime. It became clear to them that one of them had let out a huge fart.
Story time.
Sadly, only one cookie remained in the store.
Sorry, boys. Daddy's getting that cookie.
Story time. Little did this gumdrop know they would soon grow up to be a mighty princess.
I know.
Story time. They enjoyed sleep so much, they often took naps in the street and could not get back up. Story time. It's been years, but their quest to spot the booty has remained fruitless.
Found it.
Story time. In a twist of fate, the gamer has become the game.
It's not me.
Story time. Into the bag he snuck looking for treasure.
He's looking for my candy.
Oh, but his plans were foiled. Story time. She only had one plan for this new year. World domination.
All right.